So tell us, you guys have been involved with programmatic, obviously around display primarily, for about 3 years. What's new now? And tell us what your remit is and sort of the state of programmatic at time. And it's an interesting time because it's a new company. It's spun out. I don't know what that means operationally, but explain sort of the rollout of time as sort of a separate entity now, what programmatic means, and how programmatic works with direct sales, and just give us an update.
Okay. I mean, yeah, a little bit of background. We've been selling our inventory programmatically for a few years now, but like most publishers, we've just been in the open exchange selling it on a blind basis. So about 18 months ago, we decided to launch our private marketplace, and that's actually what I focus on. So really what we're trying to do, and what I think a lot of publishers at this point are starting to do, is we've realized that if we package up our inventory in such a way that's similar to the way that our direct sellers are selling our inventory, that we could bring much more value to our buyers, like the Netflix of the world. So part of what we're doing is making it more transparent. And then we're also just, the focus over the past year has been to not just have standard ad units, but we go beyond that. So we're starting to add things like rising star units. We're selling programmatically. We're just getting into video. We've got mobile. So we're really trying to offer as much as possible programmatically, and really if the client wants it and if they need to execute it programmatically, we want to have a solution for them. I'd say over the next year, we're really going to start focusing more on our data. So we've got a database of about 150 million subscribers, purchasers that have either bought timing products that could be something related to the swimsuit issues, got DVDs, for example, subscribers and former subscribers. So we're starting to package out that data and sell it programmatically as well. So it just really allows us to use our own data and target our audience across our sites in a more efficient way. So we're just starting to roll that out to advertisers.
So speaking of advertisers, you are working with Netflix, as Kathy had mentioned to me, and I know you just mentioned. So tell us, not to get too deep in the weeds, but from an operational standpoint, how do you work with an advertiser like Netflix in the programmatic scenario?
Sure. I mean, I think operationally, it's the same way that we'd work with a trade desk or an agency. It's a pretty similar relationship. It just kind of, in this case, it's the advertiser actually managing the deal versus, we've got people like Xaxis or Magna that are managing the deal. So I think in some ways with an advertiser, it kind of cuts out some kind of different players when you're going through negotiations, and kind of it takes away some of that complexity that you sometimes have. But other than that, I think in terms of getting deals set up, it's pretty similar to the way that we'd work with like a trade desk or an agency.
And in the past, I've spoken to premium publishers, and they held their nose to programmatic. As long as 2 years ago, I would say. I remember doing conferences, and it's really changed. Why has it changed? And tell us about pricing and the marketplace, and about for people like Time Inc. embracing it, and why embracing it now?
Yeah, I mean, I think that 2 years ago there were definitely a lot of holdouts out there. I think a few very big holdouts out there. I think 2 years ago there was just still a lot of fear about kind of how it worked, thinking about it as more of a race to the bottom. I think publishers have finally started to get educated on how it, just how it works, and the fact that they can, maintain the pricing that they've had in the past. And I think it's just there was a learning curve, and we're sort of at the point where we realize how this works, and if we're not in it, it's a missed opportunity for us. So.
And what about RTB around premium publishing for you guys and for others? I mean, I know it's a small, the open auction is sort of a small piece of it. Does it exist for you? Will it exist for you?
It does. So that's, I mean, when we launched 3 years ago, that's all we were doing was playing in the open auction. So it's still a big part of what we sell programmatically, although it's getting smaller and smaller. So I'd say at this point we're probably 50% of our programmatic revenue is coming from private marketplaces, whereas a year ago it was probably about 10%. So it's kind of, we're trying to move away from that and do more on the private side.
And you just announced a big agreement with Google. Tell us about that, about what that's about, a little bit about that arrangement.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, it's just an extension of what we already had in place with them. So, we work with both Google and Rubicon. And on the Google side, really what we've done is we have a sister company, IPC Media, in the UK. And the deal with Google has just allowed us to extend what we're doing here in the US, where I can now sell IPC Media programmatically on the same seat that we have in Google, And then my counterparts in the UK can sell our inventory from the US inventory from the UK. So it just allows us to kind of just be more global and scale in terms of what we do.
And video is sort of part of what you guys do, and I know that we've spoken to Time Inc., and I know there's a big gearing up of digital video. Tell us a little bit about what the roadmap might be around video and monetizing the video through programmatic. Where might that go?
Sure. I mean, we are just starting to monetize it programmatically. I think our challenge, and a lot of publishers' challenge right now, is that sell-through rates are really high. And I think for Time Inc. as well, traditionally we haven't had a big focus on producing video content, although over the past 12 months we've really started to focus on that. I think all of our sites now have either daily or weekly shows that they're airing. So, over time we're going to have more inventory that I'll be able to sell programmatically that our direct sellers will be able to sell. So it's just, we can do it technically. It's just a matter of having the inventory to sell.